screw it, we're just gonna start. What is up, guys? We're back with another video. As usual, hope everyone's doing well, inshallah. I finished my semester like a week ago, alhamdulillah, and I told myself, I was like, once winter break hits, you're gonna go absolutely crazy. Like, you're gonna make so many videos, before next semester starts. And we're currently a week in winter break, and I haven't made a single video yet. So today, right now, we're breaking that cycle, and we're making this video. Anyways, nobody cares about my procrastination issues. You guys clicked on this video because you are wondering what advice I would give to my younger self. Specifically in high school, sort of that 16 to 18 range. I feel like that's a time in our lives where it's a weird bridge between, we're still in our teenage years, but we're also getting close to like our adult years. And then with the added pressure of school and friends and getting a job and trying to find a career, and there's just a lot going on in that age. And so just looking back at what I did, hopefully the lessons that I learned will help some of you guys that are currently in that age right now. Before I start, I do want to put it out there though that I don't necessarily regret anything that I did, right? We all make mistakes, and when I was younger, I definitely made a lot of mistakes. But the beautiful thing about them is that you genuinely learn a lot from your mistakes. Like, it's one thing if somebody tells you not to do something, but it's another thing if you end up doing it and then learning from that consequence. So if you feel like you've made a lot of mistakes in your life, don't be too hard on yourself. Just try to learn from them and move on. I also want to make it abundantly clear that these things that I'm about to mention are just my personal opinions, on lessons that I've learned. They're not stone hard facts. They're just the things that, I would have done differently. So take what you will, and if you don't like what I say, then that's totally fine. I'm still young, I'm still learning as well. So the first piece of advice that I'd give myself when I was younger is that your elders know a lot more than you think they do, especially your parents, but even your teachers, your instructors, your uncles, the ammu at the masjid. Trust me, all of these people know a lot more than you might think they do. When we're younger and we finally get a little bit of independence, we feel like we can rule the world. All of a sudden, we just know everything about everything, and nobody can tell us differently. And especially with your parents, a lot of us butt heads because we don't see the same way, because they're from a different generation and they don't understand how our times work, and they're just out of the loop and all this stuff. But in reality, you grow up and you realize that a lot, maybe not 100%, but the majority of the things that your parents told you when you were younger turn out to be true. And that's just how life works, right? The older you get, the more experiences you have, and so the more knowledge you're gonna get from those experiences. So your parents are significantly older than you, right? So they generally have significantly more knowledge. And yes, our times are definitely not like their times when they were our age, but it's not as different as you might think. Whenever your parents or your teacher or an uncle or somebody tries to advise you with something, take it with a grain of salt, right? You don't have anything to lose. Try to see their perspective of what they're saying, and especially with your parents, realize that at the end of the day, they just want what's best for you. All of these things that they tell you that seems like criticism, that seems like they're just attacking you all the time, realize that it actually does come from a place of love and from a place of care and concern. I remember a lot of the times my parents would tell me certain things and I would be arrogant about it and just do my own thing or do what I was already doing, and then kind of see the effects of that later on and realize, my parents were right. I saw this quote somewhere that said that the same rules that our parents would apply to us as kids and we would resent them for it, we try to apply those same rules to ourselves when we grow up, right? When we get older and we start realizing certain things, we start to, set a bedtime for ourselves or try to eat healthy or limit our electronics, right? The same things that our parents would implement on us when we were kids. It's funny because I know my parents watch these videos, so I gotta sweet talk them a bit, I'm trying to get that new iPhone. But on a real note, take what they say with a grain of salt and try to see the love and concern behind them. I'm gonna go change, this jacket is way too hot. Okay, anyways, the second piece of advice that I would have is have something that you're working towards. Have something, whether it's a passion, an interest, a hobby, whatever, that you genuinely enjoy doing and that you're working towards in the future. Don't just go with the flow like everybody else. Don't not have a plan for the next 5 years and kind of just do whatever happens. Living your life just day by day, especially when you're young and you have so much potential and free time, is very, very dangerous. Fill your time up with something meaningful, something that gives you purpose and that you enjoy doing. And this can literally be anything. This can be a sport, this can be, an instrument, it can be art, it can be making videos. There's so many different things you can do, but do something and stick with it, and have a plan for the next couple years as well. Have a plan in terms of where you want to be, where you see yourself when you're 22, 23. What kind of traits and qualities and characteristics do you want to have? This includes your career, this includes financial, it includes physical, mental, spiritual. Have some sort of goal or vision that you work towards. And look, I 100% understand how stressful it is to plan for the future. I used to avoid it so much because that was probably one of the most stressful things to do. You know, planning for college and what you're gonna do for the rest of your life and all that kind of stuff. But realistically, what you choose right now is probably not going to be what you end up doing. Between the ages of 16 and 18, I probably switched my career choices about 5 times. I didn't really think twice about going to the gym. Content creation, making videos was never really a thing, but I kept exploring, right? I kept trying different things, and that's really the key. When it comes to careers, my best advice is to just shadow as much as you can. Shadow anything and everything that you're even slightly interested in, and that'll give you a much better sense of what the career actually is. You do that enough times and I promise you, you will find the career for you. And when it comes to your hobbies and your passion and your interest, you're not gonna figure that out by just sitting down and staring at your phone. You have to actually try things. You have to get out of your comfort zone and experiment with different things. So while you're young and you still have so much free time, for your own sake, please don't just waste that. Use that time wisely to build yourself as a person and experiment and try out different things to see what you're really interested in. All right, the next thing, and honestly probably one of the most important things that I would advise myself with, is friends. Friends. You guys are probably sick of how many times I've talked about how important friends are, but it just can't be overemphasized. This is probably the biggest piece of advice that I would give people that are in high school or just starting college, because it's really tangible and easy to see in front of you. You want to be very selective of who you let around you, because the people around you are going to have an unbelievable impact on who you are as a person, how your character is, how close you are to Allah. All of these things depend on who's around you. A lot of times people don't realize this until it's too late, but if you realize this from an early age and you actually implement it, the benefits that it's going to have for the next 5 to 10 years of your life are gonna be amazing. And of course I understand that having good friends is a lot easier said than done. But in my opinion, it's honestly better to be completely alone, to have no friends, than to have a bunch of bad friends. I remember very clearly in high school what my friend group looked like, the kind of things that they would do. And to be honest, it wasn't that bad considering normal, public American high schools. But a lot of the things they did, didn't really coincide with Islamic values or teachings, right? They would cuss, they would talk about girls, they would have girlfriends. Never mind the fact that obviously they didn't really have a higher purpose in life. They wouldn't, pray or worship to a god, any of that kind of stuff. And so naturally, when you're around these people for hours every single day, you start to think like them, right? I started cussing in pretty much every sentence that I used, right? I started to think about haram relationships. My relationship with Allah would start to weaken, it would start to distance. And I noticed that. And right when you notice it, you realize that you have to make a sacrifice, because the reality is that you can't please both parties, right? You have to either displease your friends or displease Allah, and you have to choose which one you're gonna displease. So I remember the summer after my junior year, I made sincere dua to Allah that, look, ya Allah, this is the situation that I'm in right now. I don't know how to, distance myself from these friends that I have without hurting their feelings, and I don't know where I'm gonna find new good friends as well. That's the beautiful thing about dua, is that when you make it sincerely, when it comes from the heart, Allah will literally open doors for you from places that you would have never imagined. Beginning of senior year, I didn't have any classes with any of my old friends. So naturally, we kind of started distancing ourselves from each other. And at the same time, I started getting more involved in community events, going to the masjid more, summer camps, all that kind of stuff. And so I ended up meeting, a bunch of Muslim guys that we eventually kind of created our own friend group. And from that, we sparked so many things. From that, we created, if anyone watching is from the Portland area, we created a boys halaqah that we would do every single Saturday. And so we started to actually create our own community, right? We started to foster this brotherhood in our community. We would hang out, we would send each other reminders, right? We would remind each other of Allah and just bring ourselves closer to our deen. And I believe that all of that started from one, just a realization that something needs to change, that I need to change the people that I'm hanging out with, and sincerely making dua and asking for Allah to help me in the situation that I was in. So if you guys are in a similar situation where you either have, a bad group of friends right now, or maybe you just don't have any good friends at all, right? My sincere advice would be to make sincere dua to Allah. He will open doors from places that you would have never expected. You just have to trust him. And my camera is at 5%, so we are gonna continue this video tomorrow. All right, it is a new day, we're back, and we have one more point that we're gonna talk about. The last point that we're gonna mention is to take care of your body. When we're still young, right? When we still have that youthfulness and all that energy, you know, we kind of have the ability to like not make the best decisions when it comes to our bodies. We won't exercise, we won't stretch, we won't really care what we're putting into our bodies, right? Like what we eat. And when we're young, we can kind of get away with that, right? We won't see the effects right away. But let me tell you, if you don't start right now caring about how you're treating your body, the effects are going to come a lot sooner than you think. We kind of assume like, oh, I don't really have to worry about any of these health problems or whatever till I'm, 40, 50 years old. But in reality, if you don't take care of yourself now, these problems are gonna start popping up in your 20s. I can't speak for every 20-year-old out there, but I already have like lower back and neck pains. I have to stretch every single night, or else it's just really painful for the entire day. I have to be really careful of what I put into my body because junk food will absolutely ruin my mood and energy for the entire day. And it's just all these little things, right? Like going to the gym, exercising every day, eating healthy, making sure you have good posture, drinking a lot of water. Like all of these things don't seem important now, but they do have long-term effects. That's one thing I wish I could kind of go back and fix, is just implementing these things when I was younger, right? Especially things like posture, things that you don't really kind of pay attention to, because the majority of my neck problems now are because I had terrible posture when I was a kid. If you're wondering where to start, I would say start by fixing your sleep schedule. That is one thing with teenagers that is absolutely terrible. Like we will stay up till like 3, 4 in the morning and then wake up at like noon. Like you've already wasted so much of the daylight. Sleep early and wake up early. You'll find so much time, so much energy, so many blessings in those early hours, and it'll carry on for the rest of the day. The second thing I would say is exercise, right? Not everybody needs to be a gym rat, but you should be moving your body, 30 minutes to an hour a day. Whether it's a sport that you do, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's working out, like you need to be doing something to get your heart going. And pair up your exercise with drinking a lot of water, right? That's one thing I feel like it's overlooked a lot nowadays, but it's really important for your health. It helps with your energy, it keeps you hydrated. I'm no scientist, but it's pretty obvious that drinking more water is going to help you with your health. I won't overwhelm you guys, but I feel like those are some good practical things to kind of start out with. And that's basically it. So to summarize, the advice that I would give to my younger self is that your elders know more than you think, so listen to them. Have something that you're working towards, right? Don't just go with the flow. Be very, very selective over your friends, and take care of your body. That is going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It really, really does mean a lot to me that y'all actually choose to click on the video and watch it all the way to the end. So if you are still here and you've watched the end, go ahead and comment legend, because that's what you are. You're an absolute legend. I'm starting to recognize names of the people that keep showing up for every video, and y'all are amazing, and I want to kind of start our own community. You guys are so supportive and amazing, and I feel like it would be beneficial for a lot of people to kind of have that community on here. If you also have any suggestions for what to call ourselves, let me know. Halal Hype House? No. We could do Halal Homies. Oh God, no. Mu'adh Mafia. As you guys can tell, I'm not very good with coming up with names, so if you guys have any suggestions, let me know in the comments, and I'll just pin the one that I like the most, and we'll use that one. But yeah, that is all I have for today. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.